This chapter we have seen that how does the memory map works, what is the difference between static memory and dynamic memory, what is the runtime system environment, that is the part of memory allocated to our program, and that is how it manages the memory on the stack and heap and global and static memory. Memory allocation functions, we have seen three, basically three functions are there for allocation of memory, and one function is there for deallocation of memory. You already know that memory allocated by the compiler, uh, as far as static memory is allocated, that is allocated and deallocated automatically, right? But memory exclusively allocated by the programmer during runtime, it is responsibility of the programmer to release it back to the operating system, rather runtime system environment. So free function is there. Malloc function takes to one argument, that is number of bytes required on the heap. A difference between malloc and, I'm just taking a brief review of this chapter, is that malloc takes one argument and calloc takes two arguments. And second thing is that memory allocated by the malloc on the heap contains the garbage, whereas calloc allocates the memory and initializes to zero. That's why it is called a calloc or alloc, that is allocation of memory and clear it, clear the garbage. Common point is that malloc as well as calloc returns word pointer. It is basically this I do not usually teach in C language, but in C++ I talk in detail about difference between malloc and new operator in C++. But there is a small difference as well, which is of which students are aware. Uh, Malloc and calloc returns a void pointer, and we use the typecasting, right? That so that we cast that pointer to the pointer of a desired data type, what we want. So we write int star or char star or float star or double star like that. But uh, technically it is not a must, and students are not aware about that. If you do not do the typecasting, it works, because typecasting is not necessary or mandatory, you can say, in C language. In C++, it is mandatory, right? But still, you write that because it is a good programming practice. Whatever you want to write, uh, it is readable, it is understandable to you as a programmer, as well as other programmers who are going to read your program or try to understand your program. So we write the typecasting. We use the typecasting. Um, a real we are going to see today. Void pointer we have seen, that is the generic pointer. There is one more pointer, dangling pointer, we will see today as well, right? So let's have a look at how does the realloc function works. So it is a realloc, right? The arguments, you can see that when you allocate a memory by malloc or a calloc, and suppose in your program you feel that it is insufficient and you want to allocate more memory, at that time we uh, call the realloc function, provided you want that memory to be contiguous, right? At that time we call the realloc function. Obviously the first argument is pointer of pointer to the already allocated memory, right? So that pointer we are sending in an argument, first argument. And second argument is number of bytes, how many number of extra bytes you want, right? So that we send. Okay. Now, internal working of realloc is important to understand. Syntax and program we will write, there is no problem. But internal working of realloc is very important to understand. And okay. So how does the realloc works? If memory is available, it would be allocated as extension, right? So this is the heap, right? This is the stack, and this is the global or static memory, right? Now, uh, when you allocate memory by malloc, suppose this is a PTR, this is a PTR pointer, and you allocate memory, suppose for 4 integers, right? So this much memory is allocated, right, for 4 integers, and this will be pointing towards this, right? So PTR will point to the memory on the heap. This is PTR. I have told you that memory on the heap is unnamed memory. This doesn't have any name. Okay. So this can be accessed only by the pointer, which is obviously available on the stack. Right. Now, suppose this memory is insufficient. We want to add some more elements. Right. So you can call another malloc and another. But when you call another malloc function, definitely it will allocate memory from the heap wherever possible, wherever available, and it will return another pointer which is type of void, which is of type void, and it will be another pointer itself. So it is totally different set of pointer and memory, right? So here actually it will the realloc will help you because you want that uh, more numbers to be extended to this present list. So suppose you want 10 elements, right? The other 6 more elements you want to add. So obviously you need more memory, right? So what does the compiler do is that first of all it checks whether memory can be given. I mean, this is the these are all tasks of realloc functions. So whether memory can be given like this, okay? I cannot do everything here, right? But just imagine, visualize, okay? So what did I say? The first step, realloc tries to give memory just adjacent to the previously allocated memory by the malloc, right? If it is available, it is given. That is the first step. Suppose it is not possible for the malloc because after all, it is the memory on the heap. So contiguous may not be available. Suppose this much memory is more required, right? And this is contiguous is required. But while allocating this, okay, suppose something is there here in between. Suppose something is there in between, and that's why more memory cannot be allocated, right? So it cannot allocate memory like that, right? So one element here, one element here, some void or some puncture is there, and some all other rest of the elements. So it cannot allocate me because it is not going to be contiguous. It's very difficult to access. Okay, it is very difficult to manipulate. Everything is going to be difficult. So in that case, the realloc function goes to the second step. What does it do? It so what does it do? It allocates because 4 we have already created, we need 6 more. So it allocates elements memory for the 10 elements, right? It allocates memory for the 10 elements, completely new memory, right? Then what is the next step? It copies the contents of original. These this is copied here, right? This is copied here. Whatever the data is here, that is copied, right? Then it next step is it returns this, okay, this pointer, new pointer, void pointer, and store address in the PTR. So now PTR will point to here, right? Now PTR will point here. And not only that, okay, this is gone. This is not there. Not only that, this memory is released by the realloc function. So that is released. So this goes through the 5 different processes, step by step. If first step is failed, it cannot allocate extra memory adjacent to the previous memory. So it goes for the next 4 stages, right? Same I have written here. I thought that if I read this, you may not be able to understand. I wanted to make that animation. I just tried that, but it takes a lot of time. Okay. So first step is what? If memory is available, it would be allocated as an extension, right? If it is not available, by mistake, I have put the question mark in the first statement, first point. If it is not available, no new chunk of memory is allocated. What I showed you, new chunk of memory is allocated, right? Then what is the next state? Contents of previously allocated memory will be copied to new memory, right? Contents of previously allocated memory by the malloc, it will be copied to the new memory, and that pointer is returned. What does it mean? Pointer is returned. That means now that pointer which was pointing towards uh, previously allocated memory, that will start pointing to the new allocated fresh memory, right? And then previously allocated will be deallocated, right? This sequence is important. It releases the memory only after the pointer is this thing point start pointing to the new memory location, right? So we will try to write the, so suppose I declare a variable as int star ptr, right? And this is just a implementation of realloc, okay? So in a real world, this is carried out through the function, right? This is carried out through the function. So question might you might crop up in your mind, if we need 10 elements or we may need extra elements in the program, why do we use the malloc, and then where do we write the realloc on all these things? But this is no, this is managed by through the switch case blocks and no, options available, user options available, a lot of things are there, right? And after all, this whole concept is used in data structures, right? Data structure cannot work without dynamic memory allocation, right? So I'll just write a simple program here. We'll try to explain. Will this work? Let's see. But your pointer concept must be very clear, without which you cannot. So how many elements you want to store? Suppose I want to store 4 elements. So 88, 66, 55, and 22. So 4 elements are stored here, right? Now, suppose I will I'm using the same pointer, right? First argument is void star, right? What is that void star? The previously allocated memory, right? And size underscore t. How many bytes you want? How many new bytes you want, right? So it would be size of int into num plus. The program can be written in a variety of ways, right? Now I can write again for I equals what I have to write. Hmm, 1 I less than or equal to add num I plus plus and add when dealing with the pointer. Anybody, not even you. I could make a mistake. A seasoned programmer makes a mistake. So it is the peculiarity of pointer, right? So you have to think and write and play along with that. A small mistake here and there, a complete mess, right? Let's see. I don't know. I don't know whether it is going to work or mess. And let's see. And if suppose there is a mistake, we will try to find out or you overcome that. Okay. So how many elements? Suppose 4. So 11, 22, 33, 44. That's it. Do you want to add more elements? How many? Suppose I want to add suppose 5 elements. Let's say 5. Right? Enter number. So 55, 66. Oh my god, something went wrong. 2. I thought there might be some mistake. Num4 plus 6. No. Okay. Writing a crude program, but ultimate aim is how the realoc works. I want to show you how realoc works. Suppose 4, 11, 12, 33, 44. Suppose I want to add 5 more, then 55, 66, 77, 88, 99. I got one more. Okay, 55. You can instead of this, you can declare one variable and add these. Okay, so that suppose 4, 11, 22, 33, 44. But I want to add 5 more. So it will be 55, 66, 77, 88, and 99. So all these numbers. No, this is not enough. This is just a realoc. What I want to show is, let's see the addresses, right? Because we are interested in that, right? Whether extension of memory is given or what happens, that is very important, right? Suppose 4, 11, 22, 53, 44. I want to add, yes. See the 76, 73, 128, 32, 36, and 40. These are the addresses on the heap, right? How many elements I want to add? 5. So suppose 55, 66, 77, 88, and 99. So can you see that 40? See, new memory is allocated completely. Got that? What I mean, what to do along with that? You don't have control because memory address of 11 has been changed completely. And I actually wanted to show you this. That's why I wrote a simple program, okay, which doesn't have any meaning. What I wanted to show is how does that realoc works internally. We do not know, right? It finds that let's memory give start giving from 44, so it started giving from 44 onwards, and that memory from 28, 32, that 36, whatever that 4 into 16 bytes, it was released to the runtime environment system, and new memory is allocated completely, right? So what I told you is the theoretical process. I mean, give the extension, that's it. That is theoretical. But uh, the compiler manual say that if memory is not available, then it will follow the other steps, but not necessary. Now, here we can conclude that memory was available because 44 is wouldn't have been given, right? But we cannot have control on that. So it feels whatever important it is, It completely allocates new memory block and continuously it allocated. That's it. And original memory was released. Right. That is what actually exactly I wanted to show you. Right. So I will share this program along with you. Uh, Try this on your own. Just play along with that. Right. And this is how the realloc works. Right. Okay. Fine. Now we have been uh, we have talked enough on theoretical aspects of dynamic memory allocation, theoretical aspects of static memory allocation, then malloc, calloc, realloc, this, that, void pointer, everything is there. Okay. But the question again in your mind, definitely each of you must be where exactly this malloc is useful. Okay. I got one program. Some of you might have learned this data structure part, but one program is there, right? Uh, I don't know if you haven't learned data structure, then you may not be able to understand this. But if you have learned, definitely you would understand. Perhaps Riju might have learned, Dirtika might have learned that definitely. Then other, I do not know if they are in first year or second year. Probably this subject might be there as a part of this semester for you. What I want to tell you is that, and you may not understand this whole program at a time, very difficult, but there is a one structure created. Okay, structure, I think you can recall that. But I will try to explain this in a simplest possible way, right? See, basically, variety kind of data structures are there. There is a stack, there is a queue, there is a linked list, there is a binary tree, searching, sorting algorithms are there. A lot of things are there. Hashing is there. Now, out of all these things, I will take an example of linked list. Now, what is basically linked list is when you declare a variable on the stack, 2 bytes of memory is allocated, right? When you declare an array, you can store multiple elements having same data type and same nature, if you can recall. Same data type and same nature. Okay. You cannot store, you cannot make an, or you should not make an array of marks as well as roll number and height of the student. No, it is not. It is not a logical. No, even though all are integers. So one integer or a float or a double array. Okay. Now the one more data type. What we call is a derived data type, right? Or user defined data type. We created a structure, right? We created a structure like this. Hmm? And we put it inside a structure format, if you can recall, right? We created a structure, right? And this is a structure basically, and we call it as a struct, right? But, and of this again, you can create an array, right? The next remedy over this is taking a review of whole C language. You can create a structure of this, right? So structure will be like this. Array of structures will be like this. This will be one structure variable, right? This is one structure variable. The advanced part of this is create an array of structure like this. This will be array of structure, right? Now, next part we thought of a heap. So what we did on the heap, we did this. Okay. So allocate memory from the heap. Huh? Again, this is an array, but so the limitation is there. Again, there is a limitation. This is an array. So malloc, allog, everything is there. But in a real world, data is not like this. Okay, never. Now, so using that data structure and heap and everything, uh, an array and everything, a lot of things they clubbed together and they came out along with the concept called data structure, where a structure is formed. A structure is formed, okay, and this we call it is a node. It has got two parts. One is the data part, and another is the address part, right? So this is the data part, and this is address part. What kind of address? So suppose this data part contains, suppose the phone directory, right? So name is there, address is there, not address. Suppose first name is there, last name is there, phone number is there. Just recall your contact list on the mobile. Okay, that is also a kind of a link list. That is also kind of a link list. So this is the data part, this part, right? And there is address part. Address of what? Address of next element, right? So when you store a number, it is stored like this, right? So it has got data part and address part. When you add a number, suppose you store a number as, suppose, Anmol, Anmol, Anmol Gupta, right? And you add a number. Okay. Suppose his name is Amol. Amolkar. So see here, this Amol you will find before this, even though you have entered this as a second entry. Now, how does this take place? This takes place because of data structure, linked list, and that again, the string comparison. That a lot of things are there. What I want to tell you is that if you observe your phone list, you can add a number, you can delete a number, you can do anything along with that, right? Whatever program I have shown you right now using the malloc and realloc. Now see, with the help of data structure, that is a list, because data structure is a completely flexible list, right? It is a completely flexible. How is it? It is like this. It is like this. The first entry, right? This is the first entry. Somewhere on the heap, somewhere on the heap. This is allocated by the malloc. This node is created by malloc. One part is having data tab, and one part means one variable is there which contains an address of what, next node, right? So one more node is added, suppose one more entry is added. This is heap. I'm trying to show you. This is heap, right? This is heap, right? So it is somewhere here, second element is somewhere here, right? Third element is somewhere here, fourth element somewhere here, because it is malloc, because that's why it allocates memory from anywhere in the memory, in anywhere on the heap, right? Since this is the first element, and when you add the second element, when you add the second element, address of this is stored here, right? So address of this node is stored in the address part of this, right? When you add the third element, address of this, suppose this is third element, address of this is stored here. Right? And so on. And this element is stored, this address is stored here. Now, this is a staggered list. This is a staggered list, okay? But to us, it looks like this. It looks like an array. Though in the memory it is like this, it looks like this. What is the benefit over this? You can add as many elements as you want. You can delete element, right? When you delete the element, suppose this element is deleted, right? This element is deleted. The list is formatted like this. Why? Because the moment you delete the element, this element is deleted. Earlier, this address of this is stored here, right? When you delete this element, okay, address of this is stored here, and that's why this list looks like this, right? This is how linked list is managed. This is how pages are managed. This is how our files on the computers is managed. This is how everything is managed in this world. Okay, not only linked list, variety of data structures are there, but this is how the memory allocation and deallocation works, right? So whatever program I have written, okay, this is some finer version of this program. Okay, so I will run this first and see. Everything is there. All concepts you have learned in C language, we have used there. Loop is there, switch is there, if else is there, pointer is there, function is there, string, everything is there. Dynamic allocation is there, global memory is there, storage class is there. I mean, all concepts of C language, whatever you have learned, they are there. But I do not suggest my friends or students, unless and until you get mastery over pointers and C language and structures and no everything, don't don't concentrate on data structure, because that is complete mess if you try to learn. Okay, this is how. So switch through switch case, it is asking you that insert into linked list. So if I want to insert an element, right? Enter element for insert linked list. Okay, I will enter suppose 55, right? Display it. Okay, I will display it. How many elements are there in the linked list? So it is 55. Only single element is there. See, there is no array, nothing is there. There is a 55, that's it. Okay. Then I will insert, I want to insert again. So I will insert. Okay. Element insert, suppose 77. Okay. I want to insert again. 99. I want to insert again. 44. Okay, I want to display the linked list. If I enter display the linked list, see here 55, 77, 99, 44. Okay, how many elements you can enter? 1000, 2000, 5000, any what you want, because dynamic memory allocation function is works only when you choose for inserting an element in the linked list. That's it, right? So if I enter suppose 1, right, 66. Okay, display again. So 66 are there. Now I want to delete an element. I want to right. I want to delete. Which element I want to delete? Suppose second element I want to delete. Right. Display the list. See that 77 is gone. What was there? Where is that? 77 is there. Right. Now 77 is gone. Now 55 is there and 99 is there. That is the next element. Okay. So when this element is deleted, memory is released. Okay. Definitely. Why? Because in the delete function, memory is released, calling free function, right? So this is how the linked list. Suppose I want to number how many elements are there. Like if I call 4, then number of elements in linked list is 4, right? 5. Now you can see an interesting part of that insert. Insert has been called through the case switch case block. Switch case block, user will choose the option, right? Now, in the inside function, I am calling the malloc function, right? Malloc function what? Size of data node. What is data node? That is a structure. So now you will come to know what is the use of that size of, because structure has got lot of elements, right? Will you calculate manually how many bytes you want? That's nothing. Now each time I want one structure size. That's it. So size of data node. That data node is name of the structure, right? And this is a pointer. See, this is the local pointer inside the function, right? But this is used for creation of the node. creation of the node on the heap, right? Data is stored in that, and then there is a one pointer which is on the stack, which handles whole this thing, whole linked list. So if this is a heap, as I told you, right? So there is a stack, there is a stack, and here there is a pointer. What we call it is the base pointer. There is a pointer here, right? And address of the first node always is stored here. Okay. On this single pointer, the whole linked list is managed. See, linked list stack queues are just implementation, right? That is just implementation. But this is how the malloc is useful and free is useful, right? So this is how it is deleted. Then this is how it is displayed, number of element. That everything is what is important from my point of view is this is the use of malloc return inside the function only on demand. That is very important. On demand, runtime, right? Okay. I hope, I mean, I crunched a 4 hours topic in just 15 minutes. Okay, 4 hours or 8 hours topic in just 15 minutes. But I don't have any other option. I just wanted to tell you that okay, I'll save it afterwards. Where this malloc and free and calloc are useful, right? So it's 8 o'clock. We'll stop here.